Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I am here with a server banner tutorial. The server banner being the banner that pops up at the top of a server when they reach either 15 boosts, which is tier 2 of the boosting feature within Discord, or they're a verified server. Now this design from a quick glance looks a little odd, and this is just a small mock-up I did before the actual recording to see how I want to go about making this when we actually get to the tutorial itself. And when we get to the actual tutorial, I'm going to cut back on this area a bit, move this down, so we have more of this area on the left side to work with. But overall, this is really a three-tone-ish banner. You have your black, your whites, and you have the green. Now the green you can swap around with maybe a blue or a pink, reds, whichever. I'm probably just going to stick to green for this tutorial because it's what I originally worked with. But overall, this is a pretty simple design, and it's really applicable to a lot of communities, as you're probably tired of me hearing say at this point because I say it every single time. So without really any further ado, let's get right into the news. No, tutorial, not the news. 960 by 540 is the sizing that we want for this banner. Hit create, and voila. First thing is we're going to do is get rid of this background because that won't be necessary. And the next step is going to involve us grabbing a image. Now you don't want to do anything super detailed as your background for this style. The reason being it's not going to look that great with the black and white on top of it and the effect we're going to be using. So preferably some type of scenic backgrounds. As an example, the other one that I was doing, I used clouds, just anime, clouds, scenery, drop that in, and I recommend you do something similar. Otherwise, it's not going to look great. Now, I'm not sure if I already did an example of a server banner that involves more complicated images that you just pull off the internet, but if I haven't, then I'll make sure I make one in the future on how to do that. For this one, keep it simple for the background image. Don't make it too wild. It's not the intention. And I'll be right back once I get that image. Alright, I dropped the image in, so I'm going to click Control T, and then I'm going to resize this down till about here where it fits the frame. And that's actually just about perfect. Look at that. And I'll center it a wee bit. Perfect. So Control G to give that its own group. We're going to name this the base layer. Name this the backgrounds. We're going to make this, let's say, red. And we're going to go down here and we're going to do black and white. Now the reason I'm doing it this way is the idea for lots of my tutorials is it's a design you'll reuse constantly. So you make this first design and it can act as a template for the future. If I went up to here and made it black and white, then the problem is I have to do that every single time I want to come back and edit in the future. But in this case, since the black and white is a layer that's going to affect everything below it, because this black and white is not going to affect anything up above it, I can just swap images pretty easily and they're always going to be there. See, if I hide this now, color, no color. So just an easy way to make this more convenient for you to edit in the future. Now the next step that we're going to want to take is make a new layer, Control G once again, and we'll name this the overlays. That's really what this is going to be. Let's right click over here and give this orange, because why not, we'll just go in order. And the first color we're going to use is black, just pure black, straight zeros. So I'll be using, and then grab your pen tool. And as you might have noticed with the other one, I kind of had it pretty high up, so I just click there with a pen tool. And I think I'm going to do it different this time around. Now with the pen tool, you can either use path or shape. Shape will make the image as you go around, so to completely encapsulate it, it's already going to be filled. I kind of prefer path, and then I just shift F5 fill at the ends, but it's really a personal preference, though it's probably smarter to go shape because then you can edit it again in the future, but it's up to you. I'm going to go with path. So first off, I think that's a bit too far to the right for my preference, so I'll click here. Let's go down to just about halfway this time around, I suppose. I think that's lower than before. Looks like it. And then let's go to about here, maybe a bit shorter. I'm just going to quickly show you how to use the pen tool, and then I'm going to come around and get the shape going. So the general idea is you're going to come down, hold shift while you click so it's a straight line. Shift click, straight line. I'm going to go down again, and then shift click as you go down here. So it's a perfectly 45-degree angle, and I'll go into why you want that in a second. And then shift all the way around till you're back over here. Then right click, make selection, hit OK, shift F5, click this, click color again, and make sure that's black. I'm gonna pause real quick because I don't want to have you sit through the process of me figuring out what's a good distance to go down, and I'll be right back. Okay, I think I found a shape that I like. I'm not quite sure about this part right here. It feels a little short to me. I might move it out later in the future, but for now I'll leave it as is. But everything else is being scaled down, so we have more room up here and we have more room on the sides. And the reason we're doing that is, if you remember from the other one, we had little green boxes and black boxes, and I just want a bit more space for decoration compared to what we had before. Because this entire black area was not going to have any decoration in it, so it's more of just empty filler space. So cut back on that a bit and leave more space for actual little teeny additions. So I'm going to name this the right black. And we're going to go to blending options by right clicking. We're first going to do a inner shadow. And we're going to do at 93, 0, 9, and then for size we want to put it up to about 24, 25. For our gradients, we're going to want to do, this is actually perfect. And as for the colors, these are the colors right here. There is one of them. And then this is the other one. And feel free to pause if you have to do so. And depending on what version of Photoshop you have, you might already have these in here. If you go over to grays, and I just clicked this one right there, I believe. So hit OK there. And then you're going to want to close this, put this at overlay, and right about 70%. Perfect. So that right side's done. And then to get the left side done is much simpler. Create a new layer, control click on this thumbnail, go to the rectangular marquee tool, right click, select inverse, shift F5, color, and make it white. Hit OK, bam, we have the white. Right click, deselect, go to the black, right click, copy layer style, go to the white, right click, paste layer style, and there we go. We have the two sides. And actually, let's name this real quick. Name this the left white. And from here, all that we need to do is add the text, little green lines, and then a little bit of decoration, and it's pretty much done. Now, if you really want to, for this white side, you could up the opacity some to give it a stronger white look, but I'll leave it as is because I really want to focus on this grayish tone. Let's create a new layer, and we'll name this the lines. Outlines, that's a better name for it. And I'm going to skip yellow and make this green to fit the aesthetic. Render rectangle tool, and we're going to drop it about here. It's not the right color. For sizing, we're going to want to put this at about 6 pixels across. Let's see, it's at 8 right now. So let's cut this back by 2. and then about 13 pixels away from this right side. Now it's going to look a bit odd in this actual build right here because we're seeing it so up close, but keep in mind that once it's actually uploaded to Discord as a server banner, you're only going to be seeing it at about this size. And if you have it too close, it's going to it's blending too much together, and you'll want some spacing between the two to be really apparent. So I went ahead and set this at 13 pixels, and a good way to quickly keep in mind which is which is I'm going to grab this, I'm going to make this red, and I'm going to drop it just like that, and this will act as our ruler. No stroke, fill, and we'll just call this ruler. Save ourselves time, ruler, there we go. So that's there, and then that ruler is set, so it's come down here. Let's do Control T, Shift as you move it, check mark, just put this there. See, 13. Before it was 13 width, so you can just drop down the ruler and it's quickly sizing everywhere. So I'm not going to name this yet because I'm going to be merging them all in a moment. So let's Control T, move this down. Lines up with the ruler, that's 13 pixels away. So Control J, Control T. Oops. That's the actual ruler. Hold Shift as you move it. Hit check mark. Just drop this right about here. Perfect. Let's grab our ruler again. This time our ruler is going to come over here. Control T, Shift as you move it. And we'll put the ruler right there. Control J, Control T, Shift as you move it. I know I'm being repetitive, but if I don't, somebody's going to ask in the comments how I did something. I'm learning how to use After Effects slowly, and I should eventually get to the point where I can pop up on screen the specific key strokes that you need, but for now it's kind of just me explaining to the best of my ability. Make sure you hold Shift as you move these, otherwise you're going to have this happening, and you don't want to increase it proportionally. Because we already have the height we want, it's just the width we want to swap now. Cool, that's there. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the ruler. Perfect. And then let's grab the long one. And the reason I said keep it at 45 degrees is now you have to figure out what angle you drop that down at. Because you know it's 45, so you can move this to 45, as you can see 45 up here. And if you line it up, it's going to be perfect. So no messing around, it's all ready to go. Let's actually line this up properly. Cool. Just going to have to adjust this one a little bit. Actually, more than a little bit. This one needs to be adjusted. There we go. This one needs to come back up a little bit. Cool. So now we can go ahead and merge all these. Let's get rid of the ruler. Don't need it anymore. So we can go ahead and merge shapes. Rasterize layer style. Come down here and clean this up because nothing should be popping out. Now it looks like a straight angle going all the way down. And for the layer style, we're going to do a linear burn. Did I really mess that up? Look at that. How disappointing. Let's get that fixed real quick. I guess I didn't check what I was doing over here. There we go. That's good. Okay, everything else should be fine. There you go. Perfect. And we'll name this the thin layer, or thin outline. Then we're going to have one more on the left side, and this will be the thick one. We'll put this at, let's say, that. I think that's, it feels a little big. Move it down a little bit. Okay, that's centered, and I might actually decrease it a bit more. Now, keep in mind, as I've said before, if things look a little too big here, they're going to look perfectly fine once you actually end up zooming all the way out. Yep, so as you can see at about this size, which is what you'd see for the server, you have a little bit of space visible. You can see the green outline, you can see that outline, and all that's left is to add the little rectangles and the actual text. So we can close the outline, create a new layer, Control G. Since we skipped yellow, let's make this yellow and call this the text. And as just about always, I'm going to be using the Tokyo font. And I'm going to drop down the name of the channel and the server. And it should fit just about perfectly. Awesome. In the start, I'm going to come back over to overlay. I'm going to copy the layer style, and I'm going to drop it down over here. But we are going to want to make some adjustments because that isn't overly visible. So you can see if we zoom out, it's kind of hard to read that. So let's go ahead and go to blending options. Let's tinker around with the inner shadow some. Let's up the opacity. It should be fine. And this should be better. Yep. Now, if you really wanted to avoid that completely, you could probably just make this a color that goes well with green. I want to say blue, but I don't know my color circle. Is that what it's called? I don't know that well enough to give you a good answer as to what color would fit. But for now, I'm going to leave it as this, and you can tinker around with that as you so wish. And if you have a long name for your server, such as Call of Duty Pro Gamers United, it's probably not going to fit too well. So you want to keep it short. Maybe if it was Call of Duty Pro Gamers United, just have the initial letter of each of the words and put that there, and that would definitely fit. Cool, so text is there. Keep that in its own separate layer, even though it's a bit silly because it seems like it's the only thing there. But if you decide to edit that in the future and add overlays or textures on top of it, it's already in a folder for you to go. And then the final step is you're going to be adding the miscellaneous shapes. So miscellaneous shapes, and within this, actually let's make this blue real quick. We're going to have different folders. So we'll name this the green one because this is where the green shape is going to go. And once we actually drop that shape in, we can duplicate the surrounds. Let's go ahead and drop in this shape here. And we're going to want black now. We're going to go over to the stroke, make that black, fill, none, 3 for this. And let's say about here is what we want. So not only do we want it 3 pixels in size, but also 3 pixels away from the actual box itself. So rasterize layer style. Delete this. Delete that. And I'm pretty content with that one, so I'm going to delete over here. I'm going to come over here, Control J, Control T, hold Shift as I move it, hit check mark. Put that there, right click, merge down, and now we have our corner arrow. And this will be our main shape. Perfect. And we're going to apply a few style to these, and we're essentially going to have a green version and a black version, and we're going to put them in different spots. This white area here in different sizes, probably 4 to 5, just to fill up this white space and not have it looking so bland. So for the style, all of these little arrows, the squares, we're going to be coming back to linear burn. You can try some of these more vibrant ones if you like, such as linear lights. Actually, let's try vivid light. That's a bit more cheerful. It'll contrast the rest of this better. And we'll drop it down to 70%. And for the blending options, we can try maybe an inner shadow, see how that looks. Just drop the opacity. It's actually not too bad. Though granted, people aren't going to really notice that minute detail when this image is going to be an eighth of the size it is now. And then for the gradient, let's maybe try that. I think that looks better. And then for this actual corner, we'll leave that as is. Maybe drop the opacity a bit to help it blend in a bit more. About the same. Cool, so we have our green, and that will make our black. And once we have these two colors, we can just go and drop these around all over the place. For the black, this corner arrow is going to become green. Perfect. And this main shape is going to become black. Pretty simple. And we're going to resize it. When we resize it, make sure you resize it out to the right, just so you don't have to, what did I do there? You don't have to remove this little corner piece. The corner piece is going to stay the same size, so there's no reason to give yourself more work to do. And then once you have these two, it's just a matter of dropping them around and resizing as you see fit. So as an example, maybe I'll put black here, I'll put a green one right there, Control J, Control T. Maybe I'll put another green right, it's not going to show up. Maybe right here, actually I'll move the black up if I'm going to do that. And then for this second green, I'll drop the size a little bit, not a significant amount. And then maybe one more black, Control J, Control T. As you can see, I'm rotating them around just so the corner arrow is in a different spot. Main shape, Control T, and size it down to maybe this. And this just gives this whole image a little more personality, I suppose. And then maybe you could do one more if you wanted to, but this feels fine. Maybe put this one right there. No, it shows up well there, so let's maybe move this one down. Cool. And that'll pretty much wrap up this tutorial. There's not really much else you can do with it. As I said before, you can make this side more white, and you can mess around with that to see maybe if that would fit better. But I think this is a good place to stop. So thank you so much for watching, and I have another video popping up on screen. It's either on now or will be coming up in a few seconds to another server banner that also would probably work well for your community. It's up to you. But thanks so much for watching, and have an amazing day.